What's up, all of you sports bettors? Welcome to the Sweat the Bet YouTube channel. I am your host, Andrew Kim, aka the Parlay Doc on Twitter. This is our co-host, Matt Modi. What is up, Matt?
What's up, Andrew? How we doing?
Good. And today's video for Sweat the Bet is called Top 5 Tips for New Sports Bettors. So, guys, we're just going to go through 5 quick tips to help you out. Sports gambling is blowing up in the United States. More and more states are legalizing it. So we just want to try to educate everyone and provide you with some no-nonsense tips. Learn from our own mistakes that we've made over the years, just so that you guys can be educated and make some smart choices and have some fun and try to make some money. So let's dive right into it, guys. So tip number 1 for new sports bettors: bet responsibly. Bet responsibly and bet within your means. I know this sounds so obvious, guys, but I'm telling you right now, so many people, including myself at times, we struggle to be disciplined and stay within our means of what we're going to bet. Bottom line, to keep this simple, don't bet more than you can afford to lose. Okay? You don't want sports betting and sports gambling to become a source of stress. You don't want this to interfere with your personal life, your family life. You don't want this to become a financial problem for you. You don't want to develop an addiction, okay? And I think people laugh and say, oh, it's never going to happen to me. Trust me, guys, okay? My full-time job, I'm a psychiatrist. I deal with addictions. I even deal with people who have sports gambling problems, and it can ruin lives, gambling, betting. So you have to be responsible. You have to keep this in check. Now, first thing you're going to say is, what about all these people I see on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok? They're making tons of monies. There's so many people who are so good at this. Guys, don't be bamboozled. A lot of this is image, okay? You have to realize a lot of these people, they're media personalities, okay? They're getting paid by sponsors. They're getting paid by the shows that they're on. They're getting paid for the subscriptions they're selling. Hey, buy my picks package for $500 a month, and they get 1,000 customers. That's a lot of money, guys. And then it doesn't matter if you're losing $1,000 a bet. So you have to remember, they're professional salesmen. They're professional media personalities. Don't get too caught up in the hype. Remind yourself, I got to bet responsibly within my own means, and you stay disciplined, guys. So that's my first tip. So what's tip number 2, Matt?
I think that's a great tip. Tip number 2 is related to that. It's basically understanding your bankroll. It's bankroll management and unit sizing. So bankroll management is essentially, your bankroll is the amount of money that you're comfortable dedicating towards sports betting. So as Andrew said, it's the amount of money that you're comfortable losing. It should be something that if you lose all of it, you're not scared about paying the bills. You're not wondering, living paycheck to paycheck, all that stuff. So bankroll management is very important. And then on top of that is unit sizing. So if you're in, the sports betting world, or on Twitter, you see people say 1 unit, 3 units, 5 units. All you really need to know is that 1 unit equals 1% of your total bankroll. So if you have a $500 bankroll, 1 unit equals $5. And if you're starting off, best practices for beginner sports bettors is you really shouldn't bet more than 1 unit. Your unit size should really be 1 unit to half a unit on an individual play. Do that as you're starting off. Kind of get comfortable with the landscape and understand where you have an edge, where you don't have an edge, and just get to a point where you're comfortable betting on sports and you're comfortable to the point where you think you can actually make some money. And then you can up your unit size and your bankroll from there. Again, back to tip number 1, all within your means. So tip number 2, bankroll management and unit sizing.
All right, guys. And then moving on to tip number 3, line shopping. Line shopping is crucial. And what do I mean by line shopping, Matt? It's when you're looking at the odds for a particular wager, whether it's a money line bet, a spread bet, totals, you're going to notice very quickly, even as a new sports bettor, hey, the Chicago Bulls money line, they're plus 100 on FanDuel, but why is it minus 120 on DraftKings? And why is it minus 130 on BetMGM? This is what we mean. You will find differences even within the multiple sports books that you have access to. And it's important to shop around to find the best value possible. Okay, now, if you're going to be the type of casual bettor that's going to bet like once a year, twice a year, just on the Super Bowl and the NBA Finals, honestly, it's not going to matter too much, right? I mean, you're just having fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're having fun. You want to bet with the rest of the guys and girls. And you're like, I'm just going to put some money just to make this even more exciting. Cool. But if you are taking this a little bit more seriously, even semi-seriously, and you're betting frequently, okay, and let's say, just for example, you're betting one bet a day, and that's going to equal 365 bets a year. Or let's say you're doing 2 bets a day. I mean, that's a lot of bets per year. And this is where the line shopping becomes crucial, guys, because whether you want to believe it or not, sports books already have an edge on you. Okay. There's this weird concept on social media, and people like use it as this like rallying cry. We're going to kill the books. We're going to beat the books. We're going to bankrupt the books. No, you're not. You're not, guys. You're not. Because the problem is sports books are going to make money either way. All right. They include something called the VIG or the juice. They basically are adding in this surcharge every time you're making a sports bet. And they try their best to figure out, using a lot of sophisticated math and algorithms, they're going to make money at the end for the most part. And they're trying their best to balance their risk, but they're going to make money. Okay. So you have to factor that in. If you don't factor that in, what's going to happen is you're setting yourself up for something called negative expected value. You're basically setting yourself up to lose money over time. Okay. And we're not going to get into that today. And if you look at the oddsjam.com YouTube channel, we have so many videos on what the difference is between positive expected value and negative expected value. And at the end of the day, that's what line shopping is about. You're trying to find the best odds and lines that are setting you up for potential positive expected value, meaning you're not setting yourself up to screw yourself over. Because if you make consistent negative EV bets because you're not line shopping, guys, I'm telling you now, and I can say this as fact, it's a matter of time and when your bankroll dies. It's not if. Your bankroll will die. This is math. You cannot argue this. This is simple mathematics. You will lose your bankroll. If you are smart and you are finding positive expected value edge lines, you are setting yourself not as a guarantee to win, but you are definitely increasing your chances to stay viable, keep your bankroll alive, and putting yourself in a much better position to profit. So line shopping, if you don't know much about it, you have to watch our other videos that talk about it and are dedicated to this, because that is essential if you're going to take sports betting a little more serious.
Great point. That's a great point. Tip number 4, and this one isn't that complicated, so I'll keep it brief, but you have to be tracking all of your bets. Every single one, parlays, odds boosts, promos. You have to be tracking your bets and understanding whether you're profitable or not. If you're taking it seriously, you need to understand where your money's going, what sportsbook it's going to, what your profit is on each sportsbook. The more detail you can get into tracking your bets, the better. Luckily, Andrew referenced OddsJam. They have a bet tracker that is completely free to use, doesn't cost any money, and you can enter in all of the information regarding your bets on the OddsJam bet tracker. But regardless, you need to understand whether you're profitable or not, where you're profitable, what sports you're profitable at, what sports you're not profitable at, player props, game props, parlays, all that stuff is incredibly important. And I'll use an example. When I first started betting on baseball this year, my loss got all the way down to $4,000. Not great. So I fine-tuned, I changed my strategy. I got that all the way to breaking even. But if I wasn't tracking, I wouldn't necessarily have known how bad I was doing at baseball, and I didn't know that I needed to switch things up. So I did, and now things are looking a little bit better. So in general, tracking your bets is immensely, immensely important to becoming a good sports bettor. And honestly, even if you're just starting out, a new sports bettor, it's incredibly important to track all of your bets.
Exactly. And it's funny, we're not going to get too into it, Matt, but how many cappers out there on social media that new people follow will say, oh, this parlay doesn't count towards my record? Well, the reality is money is money, guys. So people make these weird compartmentalizations. These count towards my record, but these don't. These are just for fun. But you know what, guys? Those just for fun bets still cost money. So that's why, to emphasize to Matt, you got to track your bets, whether it's just that here's my $10 plus 10,000 parlay, here's my $10 my plus 100 straight bet. It's all still real money, guys. So you got to keep track of this stuff. Tip number 5 to wrap this up: use tools to get an edge. And what do I mean by that, guys? Time is your most precious and finite commodity that you have in life. You can't, just time is irreplaceable. The reality is sportsbooks already have an edge on you, me, all of us as sports bettors, okay? So I advocate and encourage you guys, use whatever tools you can to save you time, maximize your edge to identify angles, and just be efficient. Because look, to just manually eyeball odds on like 6 different sports books, to manually check for line shopping, to manually look at trends and props and things like that, it's too time consuming, right? Unless you're doing this full time, I don't know how you're going to have all the time in the day. So knowing that you're doing this on the side, likely, whatever it is, fantasy projections, trend model apps, apps that identify, positive EV, line shopping apps, use them to your advantage. They're there. There's a lot of this that's out there, guys. Some of them are for free, some of them are premium, but use them to your advantage. So for that reason, I want to highlight, guys, look, I know I sound like a huge homer here, but our sponsor, oddsjam.com, that's what we do on OddsJam. We have easy line shopping tools. We give you alerts for things like arbitrage betting, and we have videos on that. Arbitrage bets are where the lines are so off on 2 different books, you can literally bet both sides of the same event, and you are just guaranteed to make money. It's a grind, but you can't lose, guys, literally. Okay, so we can get into that in another video. There's arbitrage alerts, positive expected value alerts. We have a bet tracking tool like Matt was talking about. So you don't have to manually keep a spreadsheet. You just plug in the bets. It will record everything for you. We have comparison tools to show you how parlays play out with their odds on one book versus the other to save you time. So you don't have to manually build them 8 times to compare, guys. Okay. We have an iOS player prop data app on the iOS App Store for free. There are other companies who have player prop data apps, and they're charging you $25 a month, $30 a month for what we're giving you for free. It's the same damn thing, guys. This is what I'm talking about. All those principles we talked about. If you've gotten this far in the video, that means you're taking this semi-seriously. You're betting responsibly. You're managing your bankroll, your unit size, you're tracking things. Use tools and technology to your advantage. So these are some of the tips and what we consider some of the top 5 tips for new sports bettors. If you like this content, guys, this is the channel you want to follow. The Sweat the Bet YouTube channel, brought to you by OddsJam and oddsjam.com. Please check out our sponsor. We have free tools. We have premium tools. We have the free app I was talking about. There is no harm. Check it out. We're going to bring you real deal content, not fluff. We're not going to oversell things. We're not going to promise you're becoming millionaires. We're real guys. We win, we lose, we cringe, we celebrate, just like you guys. And stick with us, subscribe, and we're going to bring you good content just like this.
Awesome. Yeah, Andrew, that was well said. Please remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment with any feedback, and yeah, we'll keep it coming.
All right, guys. Thanks for checking out Sweat the Bet, brought to you by OddsJam.